Seat for Republicans, but this year, incumbent John Shadegg is getting a run for his money from challenger Bob Lord. Also in the race, Libertarian Michael Schoen. A congressional debate next on Horizon.
Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of 8, members of your Arizona PBS station. Thank you.
Good evening, and thanks for joining us tonight on Horizon. I'm Ted Simons. Before we get to our debate tonight, here's the latest news. A big comeback for Wall Street today. This after 8 days of massive losses. The Dow roared back with the biggest one-day rally since the Great Depression. The rally came on news that a plan is being worked out to get loans moving again. Also helping the rally, signals that European governments are working to help their banks. The Dow gained 936 points, or 11%, the biggest one-day gain since 1933. Congressional District 3 covers the northeast part of the valley. Although Republicans have a voter registration edge in the district, Democratic challenger Bob Lord has mounted a serious challenge to incumbent Republican John Shadegg, with national attention being paid to the race. Shadegg is a 58-year-old attorney. He's represented the 3rd District since 1994. Bob Lord is also an attorney. He has no political experience. And Michael Schoen is a libertarian. He's 62, retired attorney and political activist. Tonight, a debate between the three men seeking to represent Arizona's 3rd Congressional District. And we begin with opening statements from each candidate. Order was chosen at random. We start with Michael Schoen.
Thank you. For 25 years, we have been accumulating debt, personal, corporate, and government. Leveraged debt multiplies return on equity, so equity looked pretty good until finally recently potential new debt holders balked. A reckoning is here today. Our equity wasn't worth that much. A nation can increase its wealth through manufacturing and export surpluses. Our politicians sent manufacturing overseas and did not replace it. They borrowed from other nations while our net wealth decreased. They deregulated and then encouraged financial gimmicks like artificial housing values to create pyramid scheme prosperity. They ran deficits and printed paper dollars and T-bills with nothing to back them up. They stole from the Social Security Trust Fund. They started wars they knew we could not pay for. They can't locate trillions of misplaced dollars, according to the GAO.
Thank you, Mr. Schoen. Bob Lord.
Thanks, Ted, and thanks to PBS for hosting this debate at such a critical junction in our nation's history. I'm Bob Lord. I've been a business attorney here in Arizona for 21 years. I'm running for Congress because the challenges we face demand fundamental changes in Washington. My wife Tammy and I have lived the American dream. We both were born to modest circumstances, but we were fortunate enough to attend fantastic public schools. We worked hard, we learned, and built a very good life for ourselves. And as a business attorney, I've helped hundreds of my clients achieve the American dream as well by starting their own businesses and created jobs here in Arizona in the process. But I'm concerned, and as I'm sure many of you are, that our American dream could be slipping away. If we're to save it, we must make fundamental changes in Washington. In District 3, we need a change from ideological, intensely partisan leadership to common sense, pragmatic leadership. I believe I can be that leadership, and I'm looking forward to this debate with John and Michael here tonight.
Congressman.
Thank you, Ted, and I want to thank Channel 8 for doing this. You do this every year, and I appreciate it very much. It's a tremendous privilege for me to represent the people of the 3rd Congressional District. I look forward to tonight's debate and to continuing to work with the people of Arizona. I have a long history in this state. I'm a second-generation native. I learned from my father and Barry Goldwater, and my father ran Barry Goldwater's campaigns and wrote his speeches, that the single most important aspect of public life is integrity. And I think that's vitally important. We face incredibly challenging times right now, and we need to make sure that we have leaders with knowledge and experience and solid philosophy. I think I've delivered that in this district time and time again through the years. I think I represent the people of the 3rd District well. They are conservative. They have Arizona values, and I've tried to carry those values to Washington. It's been a privilege to serve. I would like the opportunity to continue this fight for the people of Arizona and for their conservative values, for lower taxes and less government and less interference in our lives. And I look forward to the debate.
All right, and thank you, gentlemen. Let's get it going here. And Congressman, I want to start with you, and we'll talk about whatever it's on everyone's mind right now. The economy, the credit crisis. The first rescue plan you voted against. The second one you voted in support. Why?
They made 2 big changes. Quite frankly, I've said they didn't change my vote, I changed their bill. From the beginning of this crisis forward, I argued that we needed to change what's called the mark-to-market rule. It's an accounting rule, and many businessmen in Arizona that I talked to in the week running up to that first vote said, look, this rule, this accounting rule, mark-to-market, is artificially depressing the value of these real estate-backed assets because it requires you to mark everything down to the instantaneous value, which means sometimes it can be 0. Now, we can't get rid of that rule because you can't have banks guessing at the value. But that was a change I wanted, and it was a change I got. They actually came to me 40 minutes before the first vote and said, Congressman, they're willing to make that change and promise you they'll make that change if you'll change your vote. And I said, I don't deal in promises. The second change I asked for was the change in FDIC insurance to take it from $100,000 to $250,000 because many businessmen had said to me that it wasn't enough and we needed to regain confidence in the market. I also had many businessmen call me between the 2 votes and talk to me about the situation they were in. Some people said, look, I have a rolling line of credit to make my payroll. I won't be able to make payroll next week if something isn't done. I had a farmer come to me and say that he'd been told by Dow Chemical that he couldn't get chemicals on credit anymore, that he had to pay in cash, in full, in advance. I couldn't see causing Arizonans to lose their jobs, car salesmen because car sales are down so much, or car mechanics to lose their jobs because of a refusal to do something.
If you had represented the 3rd Congressional District, how would you would have voted on the first plan, and how would you have voted on plan number 2?
Thanks, Ted. I actually did go on record on both occasions, and I was in the same place as John both times. I did think the second bill was an improvement. I thought there was tax relief that was a step in the right direction. I also was in favor of the increase in the FDIC limits, and I liked the stimulus for alternative energy that was placed in the second bill. But more importantly, we got to a point where the risk of doing nothing was far greater than the risk of passing that bill. We needed to restore confidence. We needed to do something to get the credit markets flowing again, and I thought it was time to act.
Your ideas on what's been going on with Wall Street and Washington?
In the short run or the long run? Because in the long run, I'd agree with Alan Greenspan that we can't keep up what we've been doing. We can't, before he left, he was warning everyone that unless we stop producing more and stop borrowing what we've been borrowing, someday we're going to have a credit crunch and people are wanting to get their money back, and stock prices and house prices are going to go down, and part of that is happening today.
If you were representing the 3rd Congressional District, let's say under a McCain presidency, and the president's bill comes before Congress, buying up bag mortgages, renegotiating them at the home's new value. That is Senator McCain's plan. If you were in Congress, if you were in the White House, you saw that bill, how would you vote?
Well, I believe that under the rescue package, Treasury is authorized, and in fact the intention is the Treasury will be buying up mortgages and also mortgage instruments. So that should be happening anyhow. I believe that Senator McCain has had 2 different plans on that front. The first time it appeared that the idea was to buy those mortgages at their current values. The second time it was to buy them at the face value, the original mortgage amount. I'm opposed to that. That would be a giveaway to our financial institutions. I don't think we can go there. I don't think we can use the taxpayers' money to make a gift to the financial institutions.
Conversely, a President Obama, who announced, the candidate announced a plan today regarding what's happening on Wall Street and the credit crunch. 90-day moratorium on foreclosures, penalty-free access to retirement savings, more money to local and state governments, income tax credits for businesses for new hires. If you remain in Congress and there's a President Obama with that bill before you, how would you vote?
I think I'm a no vote. Quite frankly, I think we need to get private capital buying these assets. It's one of the things that House Republicans wanted from the get-go. I had people telling me running in the run-up to the first bill when we were learning what was going on, that the moment word hit the street that the government was going to buy these assets, private negotiations where the holders of these assets, banks, stopped selling them to private investors at 30 or 40 cents on the dollar in the belief that they could get the government to buy them at 100 cents on the dollar.